What is up, everybody? We are live, and I'm here with my sporks. I'm really excited about ETH Denver. I got these sporks at ETH Denver last year, or I don't know if I got them the year prior, which was COVID ETH Denver, and they would send them to you. But I've got my sporks, and I'm ready to do this live stream. Let's do it. Spork it up. Okay, so I'll kind of intro a little bit because I want as many folks to join live stream as possible. But today we're just going to look at setting up a basic front end using a stack that we like to use here at Alchemy University. Like, what the heck is a stack? It's just like, a couple of technologies that we kind of combine in order to create a front end facing website. And we're going to run through how to set a front end up on your local so that you can actually develop it, and actually deploy a website out to the world. So we'll run through that. And let's see, what did I want to cover introduction wise? So yeah, this is super impromptu, but it's kind of like purposely impromptu because, we all want to learn here. So it's kind of a little good if you guys see me mess up, because you guys will probably run into those same errors. So cool. Please drop comments and questions in the chat. Keep me honest. If I do something weird or funky, let me know. That's right. Yeah. What's up, Andre? And cool. Let's get started. So what I'm going to do is I'll start sharing my screen here. All right, and now we're in like this StreamYard inception, right? Yes. Okay, cool. And I will go to the best of the best, which is Alchemy University. And this is the Alchemy University dashboard. Do people see my stream okay? Obligatory check on stream and audio. It seems like it. Okay, but let me know otherwise in the comments. And what we're going to do.
Sounds good.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Cody. So what we're going to do today is, this is the AU dashboard you guys are probably already familiar with. We're going to use some of the week 6 projects that we have to learn how to kind of quickly set up a front end, like be up and running with a front end facing website on your local in like less than 10 minutes. And then if we have time, we'll kind of break it down more by scratch. But first, let's just get to the end goal of setting up a basic front end. And we will do that using some of these Alchemy University activities, such as, number one, the ERC20 token indexer. So what I like about this activity is it has you set up, like, it's just super simple. It's 3 steps. Step 1 is it has you clone this repository down, and we'll figure, we'll learn what that is in a second if that doesn't sound familiar to you. Step 2, it has you add your Alchemy API key. And step 3, it's like, now you're ready. And you'll see how quick this is. So let's just follow the steps, get this set up, and break this down further. So this activity has you set up what's called an ERC20 token indexer app. And as it says here, this skeleton application uses the Alchemy SDK in order to instantly return all the ERC20 token balances of an address. Whoa! So you guys will see how this is blazingly fast thanks to Alchemy SDK and Alchemy's enhanced endpoints. And we'll break down kind of the use case of the enhanced endpoints if we have time, enhanced APIs. But first, let's just get into it. Let's set up a front end. All right. So step 1, we're gonna, and by the way, the high level kind of goal here is to show you how kind of quick and easy it is to get up and running with a front end using one of the AU guides, right? Because some of you here may not be familiar with front end at all. So let's just like get you set up with a front end and like get you interacting with code that actually powers front end websites. So cool. Let's follow these steps. Step 1, cloning the repository. The ERC20 token balance application can be found here, and it links you to a GitHub repository, which is just a fancy name for like, an online resource that contains a bunch of code, and it will have you, as a step 1, open a terminal and navigate to the directory of your choice. So let's do that. feel free to follow along, but also most of you here should have access to AU, and this is the week 6 ERC20 token indexer app. If you want like closer, access to all these instructions. So step number 1, open a terminal and navigate to the directory of your choice. I'm opening a terminal and I'm going to CD into my desktop. So terminal navigation is like a super important part in like general software development. And we're going to be doing a bit of that. CD means change directory into, so like you can do CD desktop or CD documents, and it will push your kind of pointer of where you are into that directory. So notice I started at the root, which is signalized by that. And then I said, hey, go into the desktop. And now I'm in desktop. Cool. So what I'm going to do is make beer, and I'm going to call this, AU front end practice. Kind of a long name for a directory, but it's good. So
Al, could you just make everything a little bigger?
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. So make dir stands for basically make a directory or create a directory. And all we did was instruct the terminal or the computer to make a directory called AU front-end practice. And now we're going to CD into that directory. And again, CD is just like a fancy word of saying, hey, go into that directory now. So let's do that. Boom. We are now, and I'll run clear, which just kind of cleans up your terminal. It doesn't delete everything because you can still scroll up a little bit, but it just kind of gives you a clean slate. Clear does that. So now we're in the empty AU front-end practice directory that we just, created. And if you pull up the like Mac Finder, this will just show as a folder. We're just like in the, a little lower level looking at this through the directory. So obviously nothing is contained. And by the way, ls is just like a show me what this directory has, and nothing, currently the directory has nothing. So it's just showing nothing. So cool. We've done step 1, which is to open a terminal and navigate to the directory of your choice. I have done that. And then step 2 is run git clone, git at GitHub, all this, weird string, which is basically a pointer to this repo. And it's, let's put that into the terminal. I'm just going to copy paste it. You should too. Boom, copy pasted. Cloning. And git clone is just like fancy talk for, hey, go to this code repository and pull it down into my local, like copy paste it into my local computer. And you'll notice that once we've run that command, it actually now has that ERC20 token indexer that we're looking at on GitHub. So now let's CD into that. Let's go into that directory and clear this so we have a blank slate. And now we run ls, which is like check what is in here, and boom, we have like everything pulled down. Magic. That's git clone. Git clone is just a copy paste that, remote code repository into my local. And now we have all those files in local, which is great. So cool. Following along, it says step 3, run cd ERC20 indexer, which we already did to move into the newly cloned directory. Step 4, Step 4 is run npm install to install all dependencies. So back in the terminal, notice we're in the main code repo. Let's run npm install. One question we get a bunch, npm install is like such a basic like first step command for a bunch of like coding projects. And it's like, what the heck is npm install? So what you need to know about npm install is that when you git clone a code repository, you'll notice that there is a file at the root level, typically called package.json. What npm install does is it instructs the your local system to check that file, check under these dependencies, and install all of them. And that's super powerful because that gets you up and running with all the needed dependencies on your local level in 1 second. So you'll notice now it says added 310 packages. All it did was check that package.json, look at the dependencies and say, okay, at ChakraUI React is one, let's install that from the npm directory. Alchemy SDK is another, let's install that. Let's pull that down. and it pulls down all the configurations and like files and and basically kind of code powers that you need into your local. So that's what npm install does. It just looks at your package.json and installs any dependencies that the project needs. And cool. Number 5, we're almost there. We're almost there. And like, this is almost the end of the guide, as you can see, like, and we're not even like 20 minutes into the workshop here. So number 5 is npm run dev. Cool. And by the way, if one thing I didn't do is introduce a tech stack, which I wanted to. So I'll introduce it. Let's set up the project first, and then kind of we'll see what powers it a little bit. So cool. We've run npm run dev. Now let's go and look at this. Now we're fully set up with a React app that is an ERC20 token indexer. And all it does is, and it instructs us in this subtext, it says plug in an address, and this website will return all of its ERC20 token balances. So it just has like this simple input box. You're supposed to plug in some, 0x address, and it'll return all of the balances, all of the ERC20 balances associated to it. So this is what the app looks like. Now let's see kind of what powers this app, so that we can actually like gain some clarity as to like what the heck is this, front end, being powered by. So we'll be able to look at the code shortly, but also let's introduce the tech stack that is being used in this front end. So I'm going to cheat a little bit and step out of this activity real quick and go into the week 8 AU final project week AU certification article, the final project guidelines. If you haven't checked them out, check them out. Super useful tools and resources for building your final project. But I'm just going to cheat real quick. And the front end resources tab here in step or point number 5, recommended resources, is called front end resources, right? And it says, if you want to build a front end facing application, these are some of the resources we recommend. And these 3 that I'm about to list out are exactly the ones that power this app that we just set up in like a couple of terminal commands, right? So React is a JavaScript library for building user interfaces. I won't go too much into these. I just want you to know what kind of technologies are being used in this application, so that we're not kind of all blind to it. React is this like component-based library that uses a bunch of JavaScript, and you'll see it shortly. We can actually, you might recognize the syntax. If we pull up VS Code via this command, the important file in these applications that we're setting up is the app.jsx, right? So this is what React looks like a little bit. It's kind of like a combination of JavaScript along with like a cool framework for implementing kind of better looking HTML code, right? I think it was initially created by Facebook, and now it's like all over the place. It's really powerful to build front end facing websites. So that is the kind of main framework used. Then we have Vite. So Vite is a build system that makes local front-end development super fast. Basically, Vite is a build system that when we ran that terminal, we ran that npm run dev command, and you notice that Vite popped up here. Vite is basically so a better way to explain it is when you visit a website on the internet, some server serves that website to you, right? Probably some AWS server serves you that website so that you can actually see it. Vite kind of lets you do that, but on your local. So Vite is a build system that powers a local server for you to look at your own website. That's why when we ran npm run dev, Vite was like, cool, I got you. You can visit this website at localhost 5173. So that's what Vite does. And Vite is super fast. If you've heard of like similar competitors, there's like Webpack and all these other ones, Vite is like blazingly fast. It's kind of nuts. So that is linked. And if we have time after, we'll try to create an app via directly Vite, and you'll see how like incredibly fast this is. And you'll notice that app is the one we used as well to kind of, because when you create a Vite app, It's very similar to create a React app. You know, if you've ever done like npx create React app, you'll notice that this app that we built or that we put together is actually based on that Vite app. So Vite is just your local build system that will help you serve kind of local files to you and basically superpower your development on your local. So that's number 2. And number 3 is one of my favorites ever, ChakraUI. It's a simple, modular, and accessible component library that gives you the building blocks you need to build your React applications. So let's look at this. ChakraUI, basically, if you're here and you're saying, oh, I don't want to like, you know, I don't want to do CSS and it's like all these things that I have to do to like style an app so it doesn't look like, you know, kind of rusty, or I don't want to say like bad words, but the best way I can explain Chakra is Chakra like pre-packages native HTML components for you so that you like quick start instantly. So if you're familiar with like native HTML, like raw HTML, like I'm just gonna search for an HTML input. If we get like a picture of it. Okay, there we go. So like we have this like raw HTML kind of editor, and we have these like input boxes, and the raw HTML renders these like very kind of bare bones, you know, they're okay, but they're very bare bones input boxes. What Chakra does is it gets you kind of 5 steps ahead of the game, where it kind of pre-styles and pre-builds a component and makes it get ready for you. And just like you'll see. So an input box in Chakra kind of looks just much more different. And it's one line of code. You just have to import the input box or the input component from ChakraUI, which is already a dependency on our project, and then just add that snippet of code, and boom, you have like this much better looking input box compared to the, you know, to the raw HTML one, which is like a little kind of, you know, janky a little bit. Nothing bad against it, but like the Chakra one is just like much neater looking, and that's right out of the box that you have like just a much neater looking app. And you'll notice that's exactly the input box we use here. It's just one example, but you know, the input box, but there's, you know, all these pre-built components that just make you skip 5 steps of like having to style your app using CSS from raw HTML. It just gets you up and running much quicker. So cool. That is the Java intro. Let me clean up my tabs here. Sorry, the Chakra intro. Any questions? I'm going to check the StreamYard. Yeah, thanks, Cody. Yeah, LS. So yeah, sometimes I kind of gloss over these things just like personally as a developer. I'm like, LS. Okay, LS I know checks, like displays the file, you know, the directory contents to you. But yeah, LS must stand for list or something. Shout out Albert. Oh yeah, CD equals change directory. Let's go. I love breaking down terminal commands. It's just so powerful to be, you know, open up a terminal and feel like Mr. Robot a little bit and CD into that and CD into that, you know, all these good things. So cool. It seems like people are kind of following along, which is good. So I've broken down this stack that powers this like ERC20 token. Let's clear some of this. This ERC20 token indexer. So that's all good. This app that we like instantly got up and running on our local host is React-Vite plus ChakraUI. Cool, that's it. So let's bring up Visual Studio Code. And this is the code. And again, the important file in this article or in this project is app.jsx. And you'll see we're importing a bunch of pre-built components already from ChakraUI. A box, which is just like ChakraUI's version of a div, if you've ever seen one. That's kind of all you need to know about the box. But it just kind of looks neater too in the code, these components, in my opinion. So cool. Let's take a look at this, and you'll notice that thanks to Vite and its like lightning fast like local development server, you'll notice that I can make a change here, and you'll be able to see like directly, thanks to this local server running and being hosted on localhost 5173, I can make a change here. So like, for example, this heading that says or let's change the button. Where's the button? Button. Okay, there we go. So the button currently says like check ERC20 token balances. We can say, hey, AU, and like instantly, boom. So like, if you didn't believe me that this code was directly tied to this local development server, now you do, right? Because we made a change and like instantly reflected on our local development server. So that's thanks to Vite, right? It's powering this like local development, sandbox that we get to code in. So cool. Now let's keep following the guide here. Oops. Okay, so going back to week 6, ERC20 token indexer app. So now step 2 is one thing you'll notice is actually does someone want to provide an an EOA address or a smart contract address so that we can actually try this live with one of your addresses? Otherwise, I'll fetch one from Etherscan. But keep in mind this will query on mainnet. Just general shout out, if you want to drop your address and see your address kind of be featured here, let us know in the chat. But to kind of skip ahead a little bit, what I would have said is like, here is your address, and I'll plug in an address. Let me check if, don't dox me, Vitalik.eth. Okay, thanks, Amit. So Dan actually brings up an interesting like address point. Like he's suggesting an ENS name, which is totally possible, right? The thing I like about this article or this challenge is it gets you set up with a front end and boom, it's like very bare bones, kind of by purpose, because we want you guys to build out the rest of the features. So Dan suggested an ENS name. Challenge number 8 is, can you add ENS support for inputs? There is no current ENS support for inputs. So if I would have done this, it's just not going to like it. I'm not even going to press the button and well, actually, so I'm going to start with Amit's. Thanks, Amit. I can't. Okay. I can't. StreamYard doesn't let me click. Let's see. Oh, no. Amit, I may have deleted your comment. I'm sorry. For some reason, yeah, as you can see, like, yeah, StreamYard, like, it highlights the whole thing. So, oh, there it is. How do I, okay, do I have to copy it brute force? I'm not going to do that. I might just have to fetch one from Etherscan and blame the weird StreamYard syntax for this. So Etherscan. And we'll take like a recent, let's go to like the DAI smart contract. We'll take a recent transaction, a transfer from, okay. So we'll use this random address. Shout out Amit for being cool and providing an address to query, but just StreamYard didn't let me click into that string for some reason. So cool. I just got a random one off Etherscan. Let's see how that does. Boom. Oh no. So I warned you guys, this was going to be a little anticlimactic. There's nothing happening. What the heck is going on? So as a hint, this is like terrible UI UX. We're following all the directions that the app is asking us, right? It says plug in an address and this website will return all of its ERC20 token balances. I plugged in an address and I'm clicking the button and nothing is happening. Like, this is so frustrating to me as a user. So no, for us front-end developers, if you click Command-Shift-C, you'll bring up these like Chrome browser tools and you'll be able to see the console of the browser. And you'll notice now, if I click that button again, that error will pop up in the console. But we are not doing a good UI UX job because we're not bubbling this error up to the user in an understandable way. So if we dig in here a little bit, we can see, okay, it's like an authentication issue and it's trying to call the Alchemy get token balances endpoint, but like just something's wrong, right? It is getting our address, as we can see. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit, but we're clicking this button and it just pops up this error. So one hint for all you aspiring front-end developers is you need to, and this is actually challenge number Number 5, there is no error checking for both wrongly formed requests or really any error checking of any kind. Can you add some in? So this is like a good UX, conceptual challenge. Like that is an error that you should anticipate and kind of bubble up to the user in a friendly way. So maybe this button or this app is currently not working, and we'll figure out why in a second. But maybe the best kind of UI UX way is to pop up a little friendly like, hey, your app is not working. And now I'll reveal why the app is not working. So back to the code. We are rigging this button that we have here, that button, the check ERC20 token balances. And thanks to React, we have this cool little on-click hook. What that allows us to do is says, whenever the user clicks on this button, do this. And that do this is a function called getTokenBalance that we wrote in JavaScript. So we can go to definition, but it's actually just at the top of this file. So we jumped from line 79 to line 21 in the same exact file. And this is an asynchronous function called getTokenBalance. And you'll kind of see why this is not working yet. We haven't plugged in an API key, and we're trying to use Alchemy's enhanced APIs without an API key, which is really bad. Or it's not really bad, it's just not going to work, right? So that's on the UI UX level, that's something we should anticipate. Like, are we appropriately setting the user up for success? What cases will the user kind of fail? And one of those cases is, well, the user probably won't plug in, or the developer at this point probably won't plug in an API key. So maybe we anticipate that error, catch it, and say, hey, you haven't plugged in an API key, and like a friendly little pop-up, right? And hint, hint, if you're here watching and you're saying like, how do I do a pop-up? Just go to Chakra. And the pop-ups here are called modals, I believe. And the cool thing about Chakra is like, you actually have the examples right in front of you. So like, boom, right? Something like that. It's so quick. You can copy paste this code right into your project. And we can even do like an alert because it's like an error. So you can do something like that. And let's see, yeah, like, one of these alerts will probably do really well. So Chakra, just kind of search whatever you need, and it will superpower your development 5 steps ahead of just raw HTML. Like, could you imagine the headache of a raw HTML pop-up? Like, I don't even know where to start there. I'd have to like start looking, around the internet and asking ChatGPT and stuff. So cool, closing these tabs, and let's get an Alchemy API key. Okay, cool. So I created a Alchemy. If you don't have an API key yet, just create an account on alchemy.com, and it allows you to create an app and choose, name your app. We can name this like ERC20 indexer app, and you choose the network that this app will, create analytics for, and the Alchemy dashboard will just give you an API key. Boom, right? I created one yesterday. It's called Test Alchemy API app. I specifically labeled it test because it's an API key, which you usually don't want to reveal on live streams. But I will reveal this because it's a test API key. I'm specifically labeling it for that. I'm going to view key, copy the key, and now bring back the code again, copy paste your Alchemy API key here. Boom. And let's try this request again. Okay, same address. A reload just to have a fresh kind of slate, and fingers crossed, boom, all these ERC20 token, well, a couple of them pop up, and you'll see like it's kind of janky, right? Like some logos pop up, and like the logos are like weird looking a little bit. They're like a little blown up, so like the dimensions and it looks grainy. But we are getting these addresses, ERC20 token balances in like 1 second. It's crazy fast. So I will say, if you're looking at this and saying, whoa, that looks so weird, that's like making my head hurt, that is challenge number 3. Add some styling. And also like challenge number 4, the token balances can sometimes kind of break the outline of the page, or the kind of grid system that this uses. So can you kind of make that a little neater? Maybe the logo, if you make that much smaller for sure, and maybe just maybe not stack it, but you can put it in a row next to the symbol, something like that. Like there's just so many ways to make this app better. So cool. We got all the ERC20 token balances in a heartbeat. That's awesome. And we explored some of the challenges that you can do directly. So boom, we're up and powered with a mainnet app. This app is on our localhost, and it's literally querying the Ethereum mainnet blockchain as we speak, right? So that's pretty cool. This user that I got off the DAI contract surprisingly has a balance of 0 DAI. So I thought he would have more, but he's kind of zeroed out. Let's do a more fun one. And now that we ran through everything super quick, we are going to do the NFT indexer app, which is the exact same concept, but for NFTs. And also, just before I move on from the ERC20, I just want to highlight why Alchemy's enhanced APIs kind of allow that, right? Because say you're building this cool superstar dApp, and at one point for your users or in their user journey, you want to have them be able to query all of the ERC20 balances that a user has for any reason, right? Maybe you're querying all of those balances so that you can check how much DAI they have, how much USDC they have, how much WETH they have, and just index it in a cool, pretty app. Maybe your dApp is like an analytics app or a balanced portfolio app, something like that, right? So you're powering this use case, and Alchemy's enhanced APIs are perfect for that because I'll just read this. It's an extremely powerful API. Can you imagine what a headache it would be to acquire all of the ERC20 token balances of an address otherwise? You would need to manually, number one, go through every block in the blockchain, in the Ethereum blockchain. 2, go through every transaction in every block. 3, index each transaction. 4, see whether the TX involves any ERC20 specific events, which is just has this transaction in any way interacted with an ERC20 compatible smart contract. 5, build up your own database. 6, set up that database on a local server. 7, all these steps that Alchemy abstracts away from the developer, and they're just like, oh, you want to query all of a user's ERC20 token balances pretty instantly? Here you go. And here's the Alchemy get token balances endpoint via the Alchemy SDK. Perfect. So this app, the ERC20 indexer app that we just used here, it uses two of Alchemy's enhanced API endpoints. One is the Alchemy get token balances, and you can always check out the specs here. All the specs and all the chains it is supported on, including testnets. And what I love about these doc style, API docs is it actually lets you see this endpoint in action. So it's using Vitalik's address in here, and you can actually try it, and it will just give you that response. So a lot of the times these responses come back in JSON format. It's up to you as a front-end developer to make these pretty for the users. So we kind of halfway did that here, and we're hoping you take up the other half and make this into the next, big balance checker app, or the next Etherscan, for example. Etherscan is a big balance indexer, right? So Alchemy's APIs are perfect for that. So let's look at this exact use case, but for NFTs now. What if we want to get all of the NFTs that a user owns? Because at some point in our dApp journey for our user, we want them to index all of their NFTs. Maybe we're building a wallet. Maybe we are building a literally NFT museum dApp, and that's our main use case. So perfect. This app is exactly the same and outlines the exact same endpoints that a user or a developer faces when they want to index all of a user's NFTs. You have to go through every block. You have every block in the blockchain, go through every transaction in that block, index each, all these things that the Alchemy enhanced endpoints abstract away for you as a developer. And you're just like, no, I just want all of the users' NFTs instantly. And Alchemy is like, cool, I got you. And it sets up these API endpoints. So let's follow these rules. I'm going to follow these steps, sorry. I'm going to follow them a little quicker since they're kind of exactly the same, but you'll see these steps are just replicable across any app. We'll be able to set one up real quick. So I'm just going to quit. I'm going to cd ... which is check directory, and then ... is like go back one. Wherever you are, go back one. And we'll go back to that AU front end practice, and we're going to make dir. We're actually just going to git clone directly. So git clone the Alchemy platform NFT indexer. Boom. And now you'll notice if we run ls, we now have the ERC20 indexer app and the NFT indexer app. So let's cd into NFT indexer, clear this, ls. Cool. So step 4 is run npm install. I saw someone on the chat shout out the explanation for npm install. I'm glad that was useful for you. That was also like a huge thing for me when I was first starting up. Like, why is he running that command? Like, what is it doing? It's just checking the package.json, looking in the dependencies little tree, and installing all those to the local. And that's about it. At least that's about all you need to know, like at a high level, which is where I'm at. So cool. We installed everything that we needed, and now step 5 is npm run dev. I'm going to clear up some of these tabs here. You notice that localhost refreshed. Now we have an NFT indexer app. Whoa, this one kind of looks a little neater too. I don't know why. So it says plug in an address, and this website will return all of its NFTs. So, dang it, how do I get one of your guys' address so we can see all of your cool NFTs? First of all, let me do like a pulse check. I'm a Weath guy. I'm sorry. Weth? Who says Weth? So cool. So let's see. I wish StreamYard didn't do this to me, but I wanna get one of your guys' address and have you display all of your NFTs here. Anyway, I'll just get a random one off OpenSea or something, and let's see. So Pudgy Penguins, my browser history immediately goes to Pudgy Penguins, which is pretty funny. Cool. We're gonna get this guy's address, CTT space, and hopefully we get a bunch of these to show up on our app. So let's see, what's this guy's address? There we go. I want like a less Giphy one though. I want like more stills, like more Pudgy Penguin-esque addresses. Let's see, Lalo Crypto. There we go, more stills. Okay, so we'll copy this guy's address. He has a noun as a profile pic. That's pretty cool. So cool. And we'll do the same thing, plug it in, fetch NFTs. It's not working. What the heck? Same problem. We haven't followed step 2, which is we haven't acquired an Alchemy API key to superpower this app and do all the cool hard work for us. So one thing I'll outline is our terminal is now pointing to a whole other code base. So if I bring up Visual Studio Code, this is obviously still related to ERC20 indexer. So I'm just going to copy paste this key from here and close this project since I'm kind of done with it for now. I'm going to do Command T for a new tab, because if I close that, then our local development server powered by Vite will die. So, and then do code dot. Code dot is just saying, hey, whatever is in this directory, open it up in VS Code. And that's just like a VS Code specific command. Cool. So again, the important file in these projects is the app.jsx. And you'll notice, again, very similar, just like a bunch of Chakra React in here. And line 23, it says, copy paste your Alchemy API key. Let's do it. Boom. Back to Google Chrome. Let's reload so we have a fresh slate. And fingers crossed, we get some NFTs here looking cool. Ooh, yeah. Oh, wow. We're getting like humans in here. Whoa, Leona and Alanis. That's pretty cool. Getting some ENS names, getting some, Apex Legends Mint Pass. Where's that Pudgy? Hey, Pudgy Penguins. Shout out Pudgy Penguins. So obviously, like, this app still has like a lot to work on, right? And for some reason that like header component disappeared. What is going on? So again, I'll highlight step 3 is like build out new features, like fix this app, right? We're trying to get you up and running with like front end and trying to skip as much of the like kind of, I don't know. I don't want to say like theory of it, but here's a front end. You're setting it up. That's cool. You want to build more front end? Step 3 is what you kind of want. And this is a great practice for you. Again, challenge number 3 is add some styling. And then challenge number 4 is the NFT images can sometimes appear and sometimes not. Can you think of ways to fix that? What I love about this step 3 is there's probably someone on the stream saying, I would probably check if the image renders first, render it. If it doesn't, render some sort of placeholder image. So we don't get this. At least we don't get that, right? That could be one solve. And maybe another person is saying, yeah, I honestly would just not render that box at all if the image does not render, right? This is an NFT gallery. What's the point of rendering an NFT if it has no image? Right, so there's a lot of fixes for this, which I really like about these challenges. You can add ENS support. You can think about how to do that. There are ways to make this app faster. The images and grid display could look better. Anything you can do about that. So again, I love these challenges because people here are already probably ideating different solutions to these issues. I'm not sure why this disappeared and then came back again, but let's try another profile. And then I'll do AMA for the last 13-ish minutes. But I want to query, let's see, can we query, what's like, I like DC Investor. He's like good, right? He like, yeah. Okay, DC Investor Vault. So yeah, he has like I like autoglyphs, and he has like CryptoPunks and stuff. Let's see if this works. Copy. NFTs. It crashed. So let's see. Console. I pulled that up via Command-Shift-C. Why did it crash? It's saying cannot read properties of undefined title. So maybe if someone here is like, dude, you're totally messing this up in the code, and finds the fix, the GitHub is public. If anyone here can find it and link it to the chat so that people can see, well, actually I can do that. I don't know why I thought I couldn't. Well, it's in the activity, right? But I'm just going to link it in the chat. And this is like a shameless call out that if you find solutions to that, like general solutions to that, and you want to get some practice with PRing into the official Alchemy platform repo, go for it. And I will look at your PRs and merge them in if they fix this project. And you'll make this project much more efficient for thousands of users that will follow and learn from this project. If you want to do that, you'll both get some practice with PRing. And if you successfully get merged into the code base, you get some swag from Alchemy, from AU as well. So that's like a cool little challenge. Plus, you get some swag if you practice some PRing. So cool. I'm sure this will work. We just have to reload and copy paste this address again. Whoops, not that. The DC investor. Let's see, fetch NFTs. And there we go. So again, we're getting kind of like this grid system. The NFTs are a little slow to load. We're getting all these chromie squiggles, which look great here, actually. These chromie squiggles are like shining. We're getting a bunch of, DC investor. I like his, he likes this type of like generative art and stuff. Unfortunately, we're not getting the CryptoPunk. I was hoping to see it, CryptoPunk. You know why? Because CryptoPunks are not ERC 721 compatible tokens. So when you see this this CryptoPunk in this profile, that's actually OpenSea doing some kind of abstracted work that is indexing the CryptoPunk, even though it's not ERC 721 specific. CryptoPunks predate the ERC 721 standard. But cool, we got to see some cool apps get up and running. I'll stop sharing my screen for just a second and check in with you guys. How are you guys doing? Any questions? I'm finally seeing the chat. Sorry, guys, because I'm on one monitor right now. Can we make it green? I wonder what Hank meant here. Okay, I'm looking through the chat, making sure there's no questions, but also shout out Dan and shout out Cody who are here. And Dan exposed me as a WETH guy. What do you guys call it? WETH? WF? If you call Ether ETH and you put a W in front of it, then WETH, right? Also, you guys want to, I'm not going to riff on this now, actually. I was just going to comment. This is not Web3 specific. I'm sorry. But when you guys sneeze, do you guys go for the shoulder cough or for the kind of like hoodie cough? And there's one right answer, and I'll leave that to you guys. So AMA, what's an NFT use case you'd love to see in the future? Ooh, good question, Dan. I don't know. There's no, for me, an NFT use case I'd love to see in the future is like, you know what? This is like very kind of mainstreamy thinking, but bridging the digital ownership aspect much better with the physical ownership aspect. Like right now, the digital aspect is very powerful, and it's kind of still like being constructed where you can, like, thanks to Twitter, like allowing you to use the hexagon, you can say like, this is my NFT, I own it. And then people in the digital verse will say, oh, wow, he owns it because he was able to provide a valid signature from the wallet that owns that NFT. That's great. Awesome. And kind of that digital ownership question is kind of being solved by those use cases. So I want to see that more built out, but also like there's no definitive physical one yet. And I know like a lot of people call that out. Like I want to see like a frame that I can hang up in my room, and like people will not be able to question whether I own an NFT that I display on there. And I want to see like something better than just like a plasma TV screen that is set up to slideshow NFTs. I want to see like, I also want to see like if anyone here has a jewelry background, you can Google this. There's this guy that started making like pendants and like an amulet, and it shows the NFT here. I think he was using an Apple Watch. And I want to see like more of that. I want to see people walking on the street and like flashing like a ring to you that shows like a CryptoPunk. And there's like, yeah, I want to see that type of stuff. I know that's like more like that's not like super use casey, but I want to see that stuff built out. All right, I'm getting answers to the sneeze question. Cody is an elbow cougher. I just knew it. I knew it. And it's funny because I was talking about this yesterday with Derek from Meet Denver. When you put when you put an emoji somewhere, you like Cody's, I don't know if he's purposely trying to type that out, elbow cough, elbow cough. But yeah, wow, elbow, a lot of elbows for here. I'm not going to comment what the right answer is. I'm just saying there is one right answer. Cool. So Dan asks another good question. Why should we protect our API keys? So you guys saw me pretty blatantly show my API keys here in the stream, and that is not recommended practice at all. Any vulnerable data like API keys and 100,000% any private keys. So let me just skip the API key real quick and tangent into saying your private keys should only ever be seen by your human eyeballs ever. No one else's ever. And the fact that we're still so early that we're like still being exposed to private keys as users, that just means we're still early, right? Your private keys, keep them super safe. Use .env. Never push up your private keys to GitHub because guess what? People will see that. Anyway, Dan asked, kind of related to this, why should we protect our API keys? API keys kind of carry a lower level of critical danger than private key. Private keys, you never ever want to expose to anyone. API keys, like they can be harmful if exposed or compromised, but not at the level of private keys. So let me answer the question is API keys, the thing is, if you're powering your app via an Alchemy API key and it gets compromised, it can happen that a scammer or someone wanting to take your app down rate limits that API key and shuts off the Alchemy endpoint for your app and makes your app shut off for your users. So you want to protect your Alchemy API key or any API keys at any time, because people can just like compromise them and rate limit them into oblivion for any reason. Bots can do that. So that's probably the number one thing. And then number two is, if you look at the Alchemy dashboard, an Alchemy API will show you analytics specific to that key. So obviously you want to keep it private so that you can look at those analytics and measure that data adequately. If someone compromises it and uses it out of the scope of what you intend, your analytics will not be that great. So yeah, number one is it's just bad, because if you expose your API key, someone may rate limit it, shutting off your app, which is really bad, especially if you're at scale. And number two is your data analytics will be skewed, which is something you don't want either. So did someone comment? Oh yeah, so Robinson, yeah. Thanks for hitting this up. Yeah. So API keys, bad to reveal. You never want to reveal vulnerable data ever in general, right? Even if it's just like, passwords, or obviously passwords, but like any data that is any data that has like key attached into its name, probably never want to reveal it. Especially private keys. Especially private keys. Cool. The emojis don't show up in StreamYard, but they do in YouTube. Gotcha. Yeah, and exactly as Yolatil here points out, people can use your app key. You don't want people using your app key. It's your key. Oh, also like into the physical world, your house key. I don't know. Like, you don't want people using that. It's yours. And if it gets compromised, it can lead to a lot of bad stuff. Same thing with even API keys. Oh, Dan brings up a good point. Except public keys. Yeah, public keys like share with the world. Public keys are basically like your email equivalent. I mean, share with the world in good manner, right? Except public keys. Did you mean like public addresses, Dan? Or something related to like API keys that are public? But I'll riff on what I thought you meant, which is your public address. Share share that with the world. I mean, it's a blockchain, right? Anyone will be able to see that. Something we were riffing on a few days back is like, share that with the world, but also be mindful, because if you say, hey guys, this is my, Ethereum public address, and then that's great, but then everyone will be able to see your entire history of transactions forever. So like you're doxing it, right? That's the concept of doxing. So, have good key management for sure. All right. So any final questions, guys? We're right on the hour. This is recorded, so I hope this was helpful for folks. Basically, as a summary, we got up and running with like basic front-end facing projects that are in the AU core curriculum. They are in week 6, and they're laced with a bunch of like errors and skeleton errors, and it's just very minimal, but on purpose, because we want you guys to practice front-end development. And there's some low-hanging challenges there, and there's some medium to high level challenges there as well. Shout out if anyone is here and is really like, whoa, that app, I really just want to get building on it. Again, if you guys want to practice some PRing and you guys notice like a critical vulnerability in there, I wouldn't put it behind me. PR it and I'll take a look. And if you get merged, you get some swag from Alchemy. So Dan is saying public keys as the one to use for public key cryptography on chain address. So yeah, so we were thinking along the same lines there, Dan. So yeah, your public key, your public address, that's kind of your email equivalent in the cryptography world. Share that with anyone you want, but also beware of doxing. So practice good key management. Have one like public facing account, and that's probably where you want to do like your ENS name. So if my ENS is life of Bitcoin.eth, And that's the one, like, that's on my Twitter, and anyone can see, the life of Bitcoin.eth address and everything that I've done on that address ever, right? And that's cool. But also, like, I have other accounts that carry like other balances, so just practice good key management. It's just like it's the exact same as I have a work email, and that's specific to my work homies. But I also have a social email which carries my social calendar, and you sometimes don't kind of mix those up too much. Same thing with Ethereum public keys. Yeah, if you have questions, so I am Pony. Yeah, thanks, Dan. Thanks for the great questions. I am Pony. If you have questions, throw them in the Discord. We are there for you. We are active. Throw them in the Discord. Show us what you got. If you guys build out all these challenges, or if you guys complete all these challenges, like, I'll say this: if you step by step complete all the challenges in a way that is like super obvious, you get some swag on Alchemy. Just like ping us on Discord, right? Make sure you ping us. Yeah, for sure. I am Pony. So let's fucking learn. Great to be here with you guys. This was so much fun. Thanks, GDG. Shout out GDG. Goat the goat. And this will be recorded and posted in the Discord. Have a fantastic day, AU. Getting one final question here from Milos. Does final project has to be something new, interesting? Can we just make some simple wallet profile on top of project use now? Yes, 100,000%. As long as, so you will be submitting the code repo to your final project, as long as you're adding some unique twist, right, to this dApp. Like, we fully intend these dApps to power your final projects if you intend that, right? As long as you add a unique spin, like you mentioned, like a simple wallet profile, that's a great idea. I love that idea for a final project. But what features will that wallet have? Like, are you just, as long as you don't, like, as long as you add a great feature set, identify a user pain point and solve it uniquely, that's a 100,000% in the AU final project book. So yes, use these projects to power your final projects. Just make sure you add unique kind of use case solves for them, and not just kind of do what we did here today, which is kind of like set it up and here's the basic feature. Like, show us you're actually like intending to, you're thinking of a user audience, and a wallet profile seems like a great idea, but if I am a user, what am I getting from this wallet profile? What cool feature? And again, fix this app up, package it into something unique, and that's your final project. Yeah, good luck, guys. Good luck with final projects. Hit us up in the Discord. Let us know how it goes. Thanks, everybody. Peace, love, and Web3.